Donald Trump, 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 Donald Trump. Okay, he was the one who put it on the agenda. He was the one who pardoned all these people. He did not have to do that.
Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
In this video today, CNN goes off the deep end when they learn that Trump has issued a pardon for January 6 prisoners. They had a complete meltdown. They definitely didn't like it. And you're going to see how they're going to start pushing a certain narrative about Trump in this particular action, all while ignoring what Joe Biden did, which we're going to get to in this video. But let's actually see the moment when Trump signs the actual pardons to get January 6 hostages out of prison. Check this out.
This is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutations?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Okay.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you, sir.
So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. They're expecting it. Approximately 1,500 people. Six commutations.
Were there any cases you did not commute or pardon people?
We're looking at different things, but the commutations would be the ones that we'll take a look, and maybe it'll stay that way, or it'll go to full pardon.
And the order does require the Bureau of Prisons to act immediately on receipt of the pardons and
Right.
commutation orders. Sir, this is an
Why don't we get that down so they can get them going right now?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Promises made, promises kept. That's exactly what happened today. We're talking 200 executive orders, and the most controversial one that the media is going to focus on is him pardoning January 6 hostages. Now, they are absolutely outraged by this because they believe they have the moral high ground. They believe every single individual deserves to be in prison. They don't believe that the justice system over-prosecuted a lot of these individuals, and we'll get into that in this video, why that is. But guys, this is a total meltdown from the media today, and they're ignoring the atrocities from Joe Biden and what he did with his family. And let me just show you an example of that. Check out Van Jones's reaction to Scott Jennings.
With the pardons, what's your take on that?
Here's what I think. Were these people punished? Yes. Were they ruined financially? Yes. Did they spend time in jail? Yes. Have their lives been ruined? Absolutely. And one of you said earlier, Van or Axe, that you think this sends a terrible signal that you can get away with things like this. As though we've never had a moment in recent American history when people were not punished for rampaging around when they shouldn't have been. It was the summer of 2020. And these people were actually punished. Those people were never even charged.
Hey, that's not true at all.
That's not true. Most charges are not.
Let him answer. But I do see it differently in that I don't like it when people tear up buildings at all. I'm not a part of some pro-riot, pro-crime lobby. But I really don't like when people attack police officers. I really don't like it at all. I'm the son of a police officer. My uncle's a police officer. I don't like it at all.
Now, he sounds like he's about to come to tears because of these January 6 individuals allegedly attacking police officers. Now, clearly, some can argue self-defense. Some could argue this is in the middle of a riot. I mean, listen, I'm not going to get into the semantics of this. Clearly, people are recommending Trump to look at those particular cases on a case-by-case basis. Getting back to Crybaby Van Jones. Yeah, so you had no tears for the people in Minneapolis. Where was your outrage then? A police precinct was burned down. The Capitol did not burn down here. But again, this is what Democrats do. They don't take responsibility for anything, and they blame Trump for everything, right?
If you attack a police officer, before you get any lenience or before you get any support from this society, you should apologize. And they didn't. And that's wrong. And you yourself and others said you would have a problem if the violent ones were let go.
I concede it. I agree.
And that's my problem tonight.
I agree. I don't like the idea specifically the people that attack police. I'm in agreement with you on that. But I do think it is important to note that these people, whatever they did, whether it was just accidentally walking in or doing something much, much worse, Elliot, you can correct me if I'm wrong, most of them, if not all of them, did get punished, serve some kind of time. And my assumption is virtually all of them have had their lives effectively ruined by this.
So let's actually see how the media is reporting on this story in regards to these pardons. I'm using Ground News to take a look at how they are so biased, of course. And if you guys want to go to this website, all you have to do is go to ground.news/Devori. And you guys can check this out for yourself. Now, the story here is Trump pardons nearly all January 6 rioters on first day of presidency, okay? And the key things that they are going to focus on is the Proud Boys celebrated Trump's return to the White House by marching in downtown D.C., calling for the release of January 6 defendants while carrying a banner that read, "Congratulations, President Trump." I guarantee you, CNN, ABC, all of these networks, they are going to bring that up, no question. Now, let me show you exactly how the left is reporting what he did today. Now, this article from Politico reads, Trump issues sweeping pardons for January 6 rioters, which implies that they all were part of the riot, which we know is not true. Matter of fact, there's plenty of people who weren't even physically there. But here we go. Even in the subtext of this, it says that it is instantly laying waste to the Justice Department's 4-year drive to punish the first disruption of the transfer of power in American history. Now, I want to see how the news outlets on the right is reporting this story. Let's take a look. And this is from the National Post. More than 1,500 January 6 defendants to be freed by sweeping pardon from Trump. You see how they title it defendants, but the left title it rioters. And that's what you're going to hear in the difference of the reporting. One side is going to continue to call them rioters, insurrectionists, and Trump has been calling them hostages. I call them prisoners. But again, you get to see how biased the media is. And that's why we're in this new age of our country where Trump is in the White House, and it is upon you to do your own research so you can see the full picture. And the best tool that can absolutely help you do that is Ground News. And this is why I love Ground News, and you will too. So head over to ground.news/Devori, or hit the link in the description or my pinned comment, or scan the QR code on the screen so you can receive 40% off the Vantage plan, which comes with unlimited access and the ability to do your own research. Now, here's a promise that you have to make to yourself. No matter how much the media continues to be morally outraged and emotionally triggered over Trump doing this, do not lose sight of this simple fact. He pardoned his entire family. He pardoned Hunter Biden after telling the American people he wouldn't do it, right? He does this on his way out the door. Clearly, they're guilty at something. They've served no jail time. But the January 6 prisoners, they've served jail time. They've lost money. Their lives have been ruined. There's no question about it. Even the Supreme Court ruled on that. And so, yes, there is a difference between what Joe Biden did and what Donald Trump just did this morning. And here's Scott Jennings talking about that difference. Watch this.
I think he's been plotting to do this for months and months and months, just like he was plotting to pardon Hunter Biden for months while lying to the American people about it. And this is the problem. If you want to be outraged about Donald Trump's January 6 pardons, it's just hard for me to muster the same kind of...
But you did call them...
Scott,
you did call them domestic terrorists.
Yes, look, I want to answer David because he addressed me about this earlier. I don't feel any differently about January 6 today as I felt on the day when you and I sat here about it. I don't feel any differently about it at all. It was a terrible day. It should not have happened. People should not have committed violent acts. And it was a stain on the end of Donald Trump's first term. However, I have taken in that event, his term, Biden's term, and then the American people took it all in, and they just rendered the ultimate adjudication for it. And the difference between the preemptive pardons and these pardons is the January 6 people, whether you like it or not, most of them did face severe punishment. Some have already been in jail and already out of jail. Yes, they got a pardon, but that doesn't mean they didn't face consequences for their actions. My problem with Biden is none of these preemptive pardons people are going to face any consequences. And
for what?
Most
for
of
what,
them,
Scott? What are they?
I don't know.
What crime did they rampage through the Capitol?
What
did they?
Tax evasion.
No, I'm not talking about Hunter Biden.
You tell me. Why did they need it then? Why did they need it?
I just think it's fascinating that these Democrats are using mental gymnastics to kind of explain why this was a good thing that Biden did, which clearly it's not. Okay, you only do it because you know if Trump truly investigates these individuals, he will find something that they could be prosecuted for. So if you really believe they were innocent, you wouldn't have to issue them the pardons. And again, this is all coming from lies over many years where you said you wouldn't do it. In fact, you criticized Trump of even considering it in his first administration. And I was surprised, but Jake Tapper brought that up. Watch this.
We should note that for career officials at the Justice Department, this is a really crappy day because it starts with these sweeping pardons that President Biden, former President Biden now, is giving to his immediate family. Preemptive pardons for his brothers Frank and Jimmy, to his sister Valerie, and then to, I think, a couple in-laws.
Their spouses, yeah.
And that, to a lot of people, this did not go through the regular pardon attorney, the pardon process. And Biden in 2020, when I interviewed him right after he'd been elected, had some very harsh things to say about the idea of Trump giving preemptive pardons to his family members. He said it would set a horrible precedent. Now, Trump didn't do it. Joe Biden did. And we can come back to that subject later in the day. But then beyond that, now these same career Justice Department officials are preparing for a swath of other pardons that they may find unseemly.
Well, look.
So the question is, who did he exactly pardon? Just so we're all clear how crazy this stuff is. Both of his brothers, okay, Francis and James, his sister, not his wife, Jill, by the way, and his sister-in-law, Sarah, and his brother-in-law, okay? So clearly they must have been engaged in something. And then you have Anthony Fauci, which we all heard about that, General Mark Milley, who should be demoted, in my opinion, the members and staff of the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th, Liz Cheney, Zoe Lofgren, Adam Schiff, Pete Aguilar, Stephanie Murphy, Jamie Raskin, Elaine Luria, and Adam Kinzinger. What's crazy is I don't see Kathy Hutchinson's name on this list either, so that's interesting. I also did not see Alejandro Mayorkas on here either, so we'll see about that. And that's why it was smart for Trump to issue the pardons on day one, just get it out of the way. So that isn't something that is continuing to linger, unlike the Democrats, where the election loss and why they lost, they still won't answer. And that is continuing to linger. And that's why they're all over the place. And they're continuing to give these unhinged takes. But here's Sir Michael Singleton on CNN offering brutal advice for the Democratic Party. Watch this.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the process. I'm happy to see it. The American people had an opportunity between two candidates. And I noticed something that Ashley said about this potential opportunity for Democrats to paint the president as being selfish. Well, they had an opportunity to make that argument to the American people, and they failed. The American people made a decision, including many Democrats, including many groups that typically vote for Democrats, Hispanics, black men in certain states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Texas. And they resoundingly rejected the argument coming from the Democratic Party. Now, my advice to my Democratic friends here would be to have a little humility. Understand why you lost. Understand why the American people overwhelmingly rejected the message coming from former President Biden, then Vice President Harris, once she became the nominee for the Democratic Party. And I have yet to see that from any single Democrat thus far. Sure. All I have seen is the constant contrasting of why they think Trump would be terrible and Harris would have been better, or why Trump is only about his own perseverance and self-preservation and self-interest.
And that's the interesting part, is if the Democrats continue to obsess over Trump instead of obsessing over the voters, they will just find themselves back where they are today, and that is on the wrong side of history. Now, Trump also signed other executive orders, and while doing so, he actually took questions from the media. This is at the White House, by the way. And one of the first questions that stood out to me is the whole 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico. Is he really going to follow through on that? In fact, not only did he say he would, but he gave us a date. Watch this.
You're signing on the border.
Well, we're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
When do you think you would enact those?
I think February 1st.
Are you planning on keeping notes of that?
I think we'll do it February 1st.
25% on both, sir.
Sir,
On each.
On each.
Now, what's interesting about his answer to all of this is he did not impose the tariffs on day one, which a lot of people speculated that he would. But also, he gave them an ultimatum, February 1st. I mean, he put that out there. They're going to hear about it. And so they have until then to figure out the situation and to prove that they are doing something about the border. So we'll see how that shakes out. Now, this leads us to the next question, which is on what Joe Biden had to say in his farewell speech to the nation, which was pre-taped and an utter disaster. But he mentioned this whole thing about an oligarchy. We are now entering the age where a few billionaires control everything about the government and the country, which we know that's not necessarily true. But here's what Trump had to say in response.
Mr. President, you surrounded yourself with a whole bunch of billionaires today. President Biden, as in his farewell address, warned about an oligarchy. I was wondering if you could respond to that.
Well, he had a lot of guys, and then they found out that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and I think they deserted him. They deserted him, those same guys. Look, I don't make pretenses, smart guys, but there are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert him. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they're all with me. I don't know. It's not going to get anything from me. I don't need money. But I do want the nation to do well, and they're smart people, and they have, they create a lot of jobs. And if they don't do it, China's going to do it. What they've done is they've taken industries and they've taken it away. They outsmarted China. And, we sort of like that. It's okay. They've done a great job. A lot of them, not all of them.
And of course, the media is not going to buy that. They're going to keep saying that the billionaires have bought Trump. They control the White House, et cetera, acted as if it's never happened before. Obviously, they're doing this for a business decision. We talked about that. They want to be on the good side of the president. And really, the president is a person who's all about the art of the deal. He's transactional. And this is a pure transactional period between a lot of these individuals and Trump. If he helps them get what they want, they help him get what he wants. And so that's why you see them shoulder to shoulder.
People used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I would say, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison.
Of course, the president has a humor, very funny individual. And here he is responding to a question about the difference between real estate developers and politicians. And he uses Adam Schiff to answer his question. Check this out.
People used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I would say, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison.
Yeah, we know this is a dirty game, and that's why you saw Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer chatting it up, joking with Trump, shaking his hand, smiling at him, because they don't actually believe in that dangerous rhetoric they were spewing during that entire election cycle. So, yeah, we're not shocked. We are not shocked here, to say the least. Now, Trump is always working, because last night he actually outmaneuvered Congress and made a special announcement on what he planned to do with TikTok, which that was one of the executive orders today. But I'm telling you, some of the details from yesterday when we talked about what he planned to do with TikTok might just surprise you. So if you guys want to click on that video and check it out for yourself, all you have to do is click on it. So if you guys want to check out that video for yourself, all you have to do is click on it, because it's coming up right now.